Well, friends, it's a sneaky live. It snuck up on you. And I got to tell you, it actually snuck up on me. I didn't tell anyone I was going to do this for the chief reason I didn't know I was going to do this. And I thought, can I just wait until I've got the richest cacophony of sounds in my living room to I do a quick Substack live? I've got the pressure cooker going over there, big old beef brisket. Yes, looking forward to eating that for lunch for a long while. I got the dishwasher on. Got a couple of birds mating outside the window, I think. Anyway, guys, what I want to talk about, uh, I want to think about assessment. I want to think about assessment. Now, there's one really big idea I want to share with you right now, and that's the difference between a formation goal and a completion goal. Now, that might sound like funny nomenclature, but I tell you what, the difference between those two is absolutely crucial. You see, a completion goal is deadly in today's day and age. A completion goal is absolutely deadly. And that's when a student simply does the work to do the work. They think of the purpose of the work is to actually get the work done, right? Why am I doing this essay? To produce an essay. Right? This is a completion goal. It's deadly. And it's set against something we might call a formation goal, right? Formation goal is saying the purpose of this work is not to produce an artifact. The purpose of this work is to produce a person who can think and wonder and ponder and pray and articulate their thoughts in a really meaningful way. And the formation goal is where every student needs to be if we want to hedge against them misusing artificial intelligence. See, what if AI introduced such a powerful disruption, but we didn't have to redefine or re-engineer every single task, because that's what is currently being talked about in this space. I've talked with a lot of schools. One school in the last 2 weeks said we're completely reimagining all of our assessment tasks. We're completely revolutionizing the way we do things here. But but what if it didn't involve redesigning and revolutionizing everything? What if it just involved recasting a vision? Casting a vision that the students are actually the work that is being produced here. I want every student to believe that deep down in their bones, that the purpose of the work that they are doing is not to create an artifact. It's actually to create a person. They need to know that. That's that formation goal. I've heard criticisms of formation goals before, and that's simply this. Paul, this idea is too lofty for students. They won't be able to understand it. They won't get it, right? How can we expect them to latch onto this big idea that it's really about producing a person? Well, I want to tell you something. They already know it. They already know it. All right. So I haven't met a single student out there that will pay their friend to do the bench press for them so that they themselves get stronger. They know that that doesn't make any sense. I'm yet to meet a student out there that will sort of bribe their mum to do their piano practice and still expect they themselves will get better at piano, right? Doesn't work like that. Students inherently know I go to the gym so I get stronger, right? I do my piano practice so I get better at piano. It's a formation goal. Students are capable of thinking that way. Of course they are. What we need to do is just push that idea out into the corners of their education. Right? Students do know that they are the product when they're thinking about their sport, when they're thinking about their music. We just need to take that same idea and apply it to education. I believe it wholeheartedly, and it can catch, and it will catch. That's a far more noble vision for education than simply producing work. The problem with it is that the completion goal has a gravitational pull. It has a tidal current, right? If we're not casting a big vision for what education is with our students, if we're not casting a really big vision for what education is with our students, then they will default to think it's just about doing the work. There is that tidal current that will slowly drag them into the most pragmatic, most prosaic version of education. I do this so I can complete my essay. We need to cast a better vision. The thing about vision casting, though, any school leader knows vision is a leaky bucket. Vision is a leaky bucket, absolutely. Because you can say it at the start of the term and you expect that bucket to be full halfway through, it's empty. And it's been empty for a long time because it's a leaky bucket, right? And so that's something we need to be really careful of, cautious of. And how do we combat that? Well, we say it over and over again. We invite our students into our classroom so that they can be formed, be shaped, so that they can leave different people. And I say that to my students all the time. I'm not sure how you are when you walked in my door, but I hope that as you walk out the door in 45, in 80 minutes time, that you are a different person. might be a small change, but I expect there to be a change. Not that you've just made something, but that you've become something. Right? That's my big hope for them. We can cast that vision. Students just need to be reminded, perhaps far more willing than we think they need to be reminded, right? One of my favorite teaching maxims is that students need to be reminded far more than they need to be taught. Students need to be reminded far more than they need to be taught, right? It's actually by the 7th or 8th time sometimes that a student, their eyes will light up, their ears will perk up and they go, oh, Mr. Matthews, I understand that. You wanted to do it. You wanted to do an annotated bibliography. That's what you want us to do. And you say, yes, okay. I've talked to you about that 5 or 6 times. Sometimes it takes a little while for things to sink into the mind of a student. And that, again, it can be a really simple example, like producing an annotated bibliography on your history essay. But how much more so for bigger ideas? How much more so for ideas like your education is about becoming a certain species of person. It's about the formation, the cultivation of a human person, not the creation of work. It's not keystrokes on a laptop or pen on paper. It's who you are becoming. Right? That's a noble vision, but we need to cast it regularly. It needs to be frequent. It needs to be the sort of thing that is slipping into our conversation time after time after time, because I'd put it to you, unless our students are saying, Mr. Matthews, I get it. It's about who I'm becoming. Stop talking about it. We just keep talking about things until they tell us to stop. And even then, probably, we still keep going. So that's a big idea. And as I said, students are well and truly capable of that formation vision. It's just about applying it into education. Now, there's nothing wrong with assessment redesign. I'm running a professional development not too long from now. Actually, it is quite a long way from now. It's 2 months away. Seem to be the best time for everyone in the States and in the Middle East and in Australia to all sort of intersect. I'm running some professional development thinking about assessment, and a crucial part of assessment in an AI world is assessment redesign. However, that's not the only answer. I believe, and I 100% believe this, that the answer lies deeper than design. The answer, in fact, lies in desire. All right? Yes, we can redesign a task. We can turn a task from a 2-week take-home essay into an in-class essay. We can do everything on pen and paper. We change things to reflective journals or Viva Voce or Socratic seminars. There's a whole lot of levers we can pull when it comes to redesigning assessment for an AI age, but they will all be insufficient if we don't touch the heart. As one person has said, the heart of the matter is the heart. We need to change what students believe, what they desire, what their affections are. Perhaps AI misuse is not a design problem, it's a desire problem. They desire expediency, the path of least resistance, the fewest calories burned. Well, we can train them to desire something greater. We can train them to desire rigor and hardship and creating within themselves the capacity, the ability to do hard things, to produce excellent work, to have an eye for their own growth and learning and development. I absolutely believe there's an old George Bush line. What did he say? Well, what did his speechwriter say in reality? Did he say the soft tyranny of low expectations? The soft bigotry of low expectations? Was that what it was? What we don't want to do is walk into our classroom and say, oh no, these students, maybe some students, but these students could never catch a big vision for education that includes them becoming a sort of person, not just producing a kind of work. Oh, my student, maybe some students somewhere in some other school, but not my students. Talk about the soft bigotry of low expectations. I believe it's a vision every student can catch. We can persuade, we can be winsome, we can call every student there to a higher, richer, nobler version and vision of education. Absolutely we can. And I've seen them catch it. And you would be surprised how willing some students are to latch on to something greater. It's almost like they've got this open mouth and it wants to close on something, but there's just nothing with enough rigor that they've found. Also, I tell you what, that formation goal, right? Education as the formation of a person, not the completion goal, which is education as the completion of work. That formation goal actually puts students in a position to be far more resilient in the rapid disruption we're seeing in the world, right? I say this to my students all the time. I say, I can't tell you what the future looks like, right? No one can. But I can tell you the sort of person who will thrive no matter what the future looks like, right? And they are people who arrive at that future not having kicked the clutch in on their studies because they think they'll just sit back, eat potato chips on the couch, and receive their universal basic income, right? They are actually the sort of people who will thrive no matter what the future looks like, are people who want to get to that future, the fullest, most rigorous and robust, most flourishing version of themselves that they can be, equipped to serve others, equipped to benefit and bless others, and equipped to discharge all their skills to the highest extent of their abilities. So there's a lot of students out there, and all they're sucking down on their Instagram feeds or their TikTok feeds is doomer content. There'll be no more jobs. Your education is worthless. Pack it in now. Do something else. It's terrible advice. I say that to them all the time. It's terrible advice. The strongest, most robust posture every student can adopt is that of a learner. Say, yep, okay, I'm going to school. I don't know what the future looks like. You know what? I don't even know what the next 40 minutes of learning Macbeth looks like, but I'm going to face it with bravery and courage, and I'm going to actually apply myself and expect to leave the classroom a better version of the person that walked in. Now, that's a vision that I want to share with my students, and it's a vision I believe every student is capable of receiving. I see. we got Michael. Michael in the chat. Michael, you've caught me out here. We've got a few others here. I jumped on a very cheeky Substack Live so I could record some video for my upcoming post next week and the week after. And you've found me out, my friend. Wow. Look, hey, good to see you, and it was good to chat with you the other week. I'm going to end the stream. I have recorded a few ideas. You will see them you will see these ideas, of course, in my Substack posts in the next little while. James has also joined. James, top of the absolute evening to you. It's evening where I am. I'm in the midst of checking out, my friend. I'm in the midst of packing up, unloading the dishwasher, getting my brisket out of the pressure cooker, and going to bed sometime soon. Though it is 7:25, early to bed, early to rise. You know what I mean? All right, friends, keep warm and well fed. Talk soon.